What is up, everyone? My name is Graham John Cola. Welcome to Vibin with G, where I interview local people to notable people from around the world. And today we have martial artist, radio persona, and one of my classmates from Seneca College, Scott Campsall. How are you, Scott?
I'm good, Graham. How are you?
Doing just fine. So let's get things started off. What got you into martial arts?
Um, wow. Okay, so it's sort of a long developed story, but
Go ahead.
I was working out about 2 hours a day, and I was getting bored just doing the same old, and ended up passing a martial arts school, and they were having a startup package, and so I went in and I checked it out, and the rest is sort of history.
Oh, wow, that's a long, short story, if you know what I mean. So, I heard you were trained by Fred Walker. How was it?
It was good. Very small town school, and and the school was small as well. And so basically, what ended up happening was I got to a point where I was one of the highest ranking students in his group, and I was teaching a lot. And he had two schools. He had one in Uxbridge and one in Port Perry, and I decided that I wanted to get into this more as a manager, and he ended up offering me the actual school, the actual location. So I bought all his equipment and started up, and he helped me a lot. He helped me get going. He's one of the reasons why we were able to get as successful as we were right from the beginning.
Successful, I like that word. So, I heard you had a journey with, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, correct me if I am, Yoshinkai Aikido. How was it with him or her?
Yoshinkan Aikido is a style of Aikido.
Oh,
So basically, what ended up happening was one of the things that I was learning in the karate school with Fred Walker was Aikido because he had done some Aikido in the past, and I really liked it. So I met a guy named Kevin Block, and he lives in Windsor, and so I got involved with him. And the style of Aikido that he actually taught was called Yoshinkan Aikido. And since then, I've met a bunch of different instructors that teach Yoshinkan, and it's one of my favorite styles, and it's very easy to teach and very easy to convey to students. So we
very
teach it
easy.
now too.
Oh, that's good. So we're done talking about martial arts for now. I heard you're into the radio business. How did you get into radio?
Uh, Basically through our martial arts school, I met one of the personalities that actually he's managing the station here. We have a local radio station in Uxbridge, and I asked him if he wanted to do a small segment on the air with me, because I'd done some co-hosting with him just for Christmas break and stuff. He'd have me in, and so we used to do a weekly segment. When COVID hit, then basically I was looking at other things that I could do, and colleges were teaching everything online. So I decided that I wanted to look into radio broadcasting. And I asked Dan. Dan was the guy I was doing it with, Dan Pollard. And I said, "Where is a good school to go to?" He said, "Seneca." He used to teach at Seneca. So that's how I landed here.
That's pretty interesting. This might be the funnest question. If you were to challenge any martial artist in the world, who would it be?
Like for a fight?
Anything.
Anything?
Yes.
Um,
Just a martial arts person in general.
You know what I really like doing? I really like having what we call volley classes. And so volley classes are sort of like volleyball. And so to me, when we get different instructors in, I really enjoy what happens is I teach a technique and then they teach a technique. And then it's sort of like it goes back and forth. So it's like, what happens if he does this? Well, then I would do that kind of thing. And so
Listen,
what I really enjoy about that is that not only are we competing in a sense, but it's all friendly, but the students learn something too. So and it challenges me because I have to be able to think spur of the moment kind of thing and go through the Rolodex of techniques we've got.
Rolodex.
But I really enjoy doing stuff like that. And I've done that a few times with more than a few people, and I really enjoy it.
Oh, nice. So you're saying you don't want to challenge anyone, you just want to be child friendly.
Well, martial arts isn't necessarily just meant for fighting. Like it's not a lot of the fighting stuff's glorified in the movies because that's what sells tickets, right? But we don't do a lot of tournament in our school. I'm more developing kids and trying to make better adults out of them. And so I'm not necessarily interested in trophies. We have done some friendship tournaments and we've done really well. So that was sort of gratifying to see us get medals. And I've been able to have students that have got proof that they can do stuff when they need to in a tournament situation. But tournament training and self-defense training is a little different, and I'd rather focus on self-defense if we're going to talk about combat.
Oh, combat sounds interesting. So, did you ever talk about anything martial arts related on the radio in any part of your history?
Just over the radio station here, because one of the things about being in a small town is that I'm recognized as the martial arts instructor or the karate instructor. There's another school in town that's teaching Taekwondo, and he's really good. It's sort of if you want to do martial arts, you either go to him or you go to me, and that's another reason we don't do a lot of tournament because he's very tournament focused. And so it's more like if you want to do tournament, go see Jason. If you want to do self development and self defense, come see me. You know, but and then the other thing is I teach Japanese martial arts. He teaches Korean martial arts. So we do Brazilian jiu jitsu as well. But he doesn't do any grappling. It's all punching and kicking. But he's one of the best tournament coaches I know. And so it's sort of like I said, small town. When they're on the radio, then you talk about it all the time because that's really what I'm known for around here.
Hmm. Yeah. So, you know how Power Rangers and Super Sentai, they all fight and stuff? They are martial artists too. Have you watched a couple of the seasons and did you get some of the moves from the Power Rangers?
When I was younger, I used to watch Power Rangers. I didn't pick up a lot of moves from them, but when we watch movies, sometimes there'll be a fight scene or something, and I'll see a self-defense move and go, "Oh, yeah, well, we teach that," or we teach. Like, it's not necessarily that I pull from them, but I can see where there's only so many ways to move. So you see somebody, and they like the one of the first times it ever happened. There was a movie. Jennifer Lopez, I think, is in it. It's called Enough, and she learns how to she's doing Krav Maga, which is an Israeli martial art, and she does a self-defense move. There's a two-hand choke, and so
Oh,
she brings her hands up and then she spins out of it in order to get out of it. Like if the two hands are here, she brings the arms up and breaks out of it. And I remember seeing it and I thought that we teach that. That's our white belt move. That's like a beginner technique. So
oh
that
my
was probably
gosh.
the first time I really noticed it. But yeah, there's lots of times you go watch a movie and you'll go, oh yeah, we teach that. So or sometimes I get really impressed. Like Steven Seagal is a seventh degree black belt in Aikido. He was the first white person to get the seventh degree rank.
Wow,
And
that's
I watch
interesting.
him do techniques all the time. And I go, oh, yeah, that's Iramanagi or that's Sokuman Iramanagi. He has one student that he works with that just sells him really well on one technique and does a nice fall and the feet go up in the air. And that guy has played a Jamaican, a Russian. Like if you watch him, it's always the same guy, and he always plays the same. He always plays the bad
So
guy.
many accents.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So my last question is, if you have any advice for any people who want to do martial arts, what advice do you have for them?
Get started. Go find a school and call them up, and then get started. And there's a saying we've got: there's a black belt is a white belt who doesn't quit.
I know I saw
And
on your website.
yeah,
It's very
and
true.
honestly, I started, and I was actually just having this conversation with one of the parents of the one of my students yesterday, and remember I started. My instructor was a sixth degree black belt in karate,
Six.
and I looked at him and I just remember just being totally mesmerized by him and just thinking he was so amazing. And now I'm wearing a sixth degree black belt in karate, and like it just takes time. It takes time, it takes effort and practice. So the best way to get going is get started.
Oh, nice. Well, thank you so much for taking your time to chat with me, Scott. And I'm sure
Oh,
you're gonna.
thank you, Graham.
Oh, you're welcome. And I'll see you next time. Maybe you'll come back on the channel and talk about more martial arts stuff in the future.
I'd like that. I could work with that. You got some moves.
Oh, I thank you. See you later.